Under the relentless sun of the Iraqi desert, a group of archaeologists gathered in silence. The wind swept through the dunes, and the dry sound of shovels cutting the sand echoed like an ancient prayer. What began as a routine excavation had turned into something none of them dared to officially report. The coordinates were altered in every document. The site, to this day, appears on no map. They called the find sector Q17, a cold, bureaucratic name to disguise the magnitude of what they had uncovered. In the first layers, beneath fragments of Sumerian pottery and eroded limestone, a structure emerged with impossibly precise geometry, angles so perfect they defied the technology of the 3rd millennium before Christ. At first, they thought it was a temple, but when they cleared the sand from the first gate, they saw that the inscriptions didn't belong to any known cuneiform dialect. The markings seemed to shimmer under the light, almost reacting to human presence. One of the assistants, a young linguist from Basra, recognized a repeated symbol, an 8-pointed star crossed by 2 arcs. He hesitated before speaking. "This is the seal of those who came from the sky." The phrase froze the air around them. Those who came from the sky, a direct reference to the Anunnaki, the ancient gods mentioned in the tablets of Nippur, Yor, and Lagash. But what was that symbol doing there, nearly 300 kilometers away from any known Sumerian city? In the days that followed, fascination gave way to fear. Each new removal of sand revealed more of the structure. It was not just a temple, it was an underground complex, a system of interconnected chambers extending for dozens of meters. The ground trembled faintly in certain spots, as if something beneath was still breathing. On the 4th day, as the sun set, it aligned perfectly with the main portal, and a golden reflection illuminated the carvings. That's when they realized the markings formed an astronomical pattern. Nibiru, the mysterious planet of ancient legends, was etched among representations of celestial bodies known to the Sumerians. The expedition leader, Dr. Karim al-Hassan, wrote in his journal, "If this map is correct, the Sumerians not only knew of another planet, but believed it was inhabited, and that its rulers once visited Earth." Those words would be his last written record before silence. 2 days later, the team was removed from the site under direct orders from Baghdad. No explanation was given. The photos disappeared. The reports vanished. And Sector Q17 was covered once again with sand, as if the desert itself had swallowed the truth. But the dust could not bury everything. Fragments of that discovery began circulating in coded messages among universities and independent research forums. And one name began to repeat itself among those who knew the Forbidden Planet, according to translated fragments of Sumerian tablets. Nibiru was not merely a celestial body, but the true home of the Anunnaki, those who brought knowledge, architecture, and the mastery of metal. The planet, they wrote, could be seen only in intervals of thousands of years, when its elliptical path crossed Earth's orbit once more. And according to those same texts, each approach marked the beginning of a new era, a time when the gods returned to inspect what they had created. The tablets describe with almost scientific precision the shapes of their vessels, the instruments they used for measurement, even beams of light that pierced the heavens. All this, thousands of years before any human civilization understood optics or propulsion. For many, it's nothing more than myth. For others, a poetic coincidence. But for those who studied the coordinates and saw what lay buried in Sector Q17, there is no doubt that place was not built by human hands. The stones show symmetrical cuts too perfect to have been made by primitive tools. On one block, in low relief, lies something even more disturbing. A clear representation of a solar system with 12 bodies, including one tilted planet outside the main orbit, marked with the same symbol found on the Sumerian tablets Nibiru. The discovery was immediately classified as a geological anomaly of military interest, None of the researchers ever spoke publicly about it again. Some disappeared. Others were reassigned to universities abroad. But fragments of Dr. Karim's notes survived. They speak of a magnetic portal beneath the site, a metallic structure sealed for over 12,000 years, and of something that, in his own words, still pulses beneath the desert, like the heart of a forgotten world. The desert, they say, is patient. It doesn't erase secrets, it keeps them, until someone is ready to find them again. Months after the sudden shutdown of Sector Q-17, an anonymous group of researchers managed to recover part of the deleted mission files. Among blurry photographs and incomplete reports, there was a sequence of drone images showing something that should not exist: colossal pillars aligned in perfect symmetry, connected by tunnels and arches, the outline of an underground city sealed beneath the desert. GPS data indicated a depth of more than 30 meters. Thermal scans revealed heat zones arranged in geometric patterns, as if energy was still emanating from the subsoil. One chamber, nicknamed the Hall of the Horizon, displayed walls covered with symbols combining astronomy and engineering. The name Nibiru appeared repeatedly, accompanied by humanoid figures wearing tall helmets and elongated eyes. One of the recovered documents contained a partially translated line. They departed when the cycle ended, but they promised to return when sky and earth would cross once again. Those words immediately drew the attention of independent archaeological groups. The site's coordinates were cross-referenced with ancient Sumerian trade routes and Babylonian astronomical records. Everything pointed to a direct connection between the underground structure and the myth of a planet that revisits the solar system in cyclical intervals. The Forbidden Planet. Ancient records describe Nibiru as a luminous, reddish body appearing in the skies, always accompanied by strange phenomena, climatic shifts, tremors, and the awakening of forces long dormant beneath the earth. To the Sumerians, Nibiru was not merely a celestial object. It was the dwelling of the Anunnaki, the gods who brought the fire of creation, who taught humankind to shape metal and study the stars. As investigations advanced, fragments of Karim al-Hassan's notes began to acquire new meaning. In them, he mentioned a corridor carved with impossible precision leading to a door of unknown material, neither stone nor metal, but a compound that reacted to human touch. When the team attempted to drill through it, their instruments failed. The magnetism surrounding the structure distorted compasses, disrupted radios, and drained batteries. In one of the recovered voice recordings, Karim's trembling tone can be heard. This city was not built, it was printed, as if it had risen whole from the earth itself. Silence follows for almost a minute. In the background, the desert wind and a faint metallic hum. Meanwhile, in laboratories across Europe, researchers compared the measurements of the underground chambers with the layouts of ancient Sumerian cities. The pattern was identical, yet inverted, as if the site represented a mirror image of Uruk, the sacred city of Gilgamesh. This inverted symmetry led some to believe the site depicted the Sumerian conception of Ki, the underworld where the gods rested between their visits to Earth. But one hypothesis was even more daring. Proposed by a Spanish astrophysicist, what if the complex does not represent the underworld, but Nibiru itself, a geological replica built as a memory or a warning? Infrared imagery revealed a central dome surrounded by 12 pillars symbolizing celestial bodies. At the core, a circular pedestal with a cavity about 2 meters wide. Karim described this cavity as the heart of the structure, a point of energy that emitted a periodic electromagnetic pulse, as if still alive. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki were those who descended from the heavens and founded the first human cities. Texts claim that Enki, Lord of Waters and Wisdom, built a gateway of return deep beneath the earth to link the world of gods and men. The coordinates of that legend matched the site exactly. The last pages of Karim's diary recount a secret attempt to reopen the portal. Samples of the metallic compound were analyzed and revealed an isotopic signature non-existent on Earth's crust, elements that could only form under pressures similar to the core of a gas giant such as Jupiter or Saturn, that led to one chilling conclusion. The material composing the city's gates did not come from Earth. Days before the team vanished, Karim wrote a final note. They left a copy of their home here. A sleeping city, made from the matter of the sky. The forbidden planet is not only above, part of it lies beneath us. After that, all communication ceased. The complex was sealed again, and satellite images later showed the terrain deliberately covered by artificial dunes. The government denied any military operation in the area, yet independent researchers claim the site's residual magnetism remains active, and that at night, under specific atmospheric conditions, the ground vibrates in rhythmic intervals, producing a low hum like a heartbeat beneath the sand. Some say it's only wind. Others swear it's the echo of Nibiru calling for its builders. Among the burned notebooks and shattered instruments recovered from the ruins of the Sector Q-17 camp, there was a small metallic box, key. Inside it, protected by layers of dust, lay a single clay fragment, seemingly ordinary, yet unlike anything ever documented. The material resembled ancient Sumerian tablets, but its density was higher, and its surface carried a faint bluish hue. Etched into the clay was a script of mixed symbols, part cuneiform, part completely unknown. The fragment would later be known among the few who studied it as the Codex of Enki for weeks. It remained indecipherable until a linguist from the University of Cairo managed to translate the first lines. His translation stunned the entire research team. "We came from the horizon where light does not reach. We brought the blood of the star and shaped the clay that breathes. We called this place Ki, and ourselves the children of Anu." From those words, the archaeological narrative shifted forever. The Codex described in remarkable detail the arrival of the Anunnaki on Earth, not as gods, but as explorers from a distant world called Nibiru. According to the text, their mission was to extract a rare mineral found deep within the Earth, a substance capable of stabilizing their planet's atmosphere. But the record went further. It said that upon discovering the biological richness of Earth, the Anunnaki decided to create a species to assist them, a fusion of their own genetic code with that of native beings. The Codex spoke of mixing the blood of the heavens with the clay of the earth, producing a hybrid creature capable of understanding and obedience. They called this new species Lu, literally, the mixed worker. Yet, a passage deep within the text contradicted everything previously known about Sumerian mythology. In it, Enki defied his father Anu, saying, "We must not give them only the body, but also the flame of thought. For if they are like us, they will know the heavens and the soil, and build not by command, but by will." That single phrase changed everything. What archaeology once dismissed as myth now resembled a literal record of prehistoric genetic engineering. As translation continued, new layers of information emerged. The Codex mentioned a Council of Return, a gathering that would occur when Nibiru's orbit brought it near Earth once again. It sounded less like prophecy and more like a scheduled inspection, a return of creators to their creation. Hidden among the text were geometric diagrams corresponding to planetary alignments. When compared to modern astronomical data, the next convergence described by the symbols aligned with a date, alarmingly close, the year 2025. In secret forums, whispers spread among scientists. Some tried to discredit the Codex as a modern forgery, but isotopic analysis proved it was over 12,000 years old, and the blue pigment within the clay contained traces of iridium and platinum. elements rare on Earth but abundant in meteorites. The discovery attracted the attention of private organizations and military research units. The artifact was quietly transferred to an undisclosed facility, and all access was revoked. Still, digital scans of the inscriptions leaked, preserved by a small circle of independent translators who called themselves the Keepers of the Horizon. It was they who decoded a particular passage where Enki described a gate of passage hidden beneath the singing sands. That phrase directly pointed to the desert beneath Sector. Enki wrote that the gate was sealed with a substance forged from the heat of 2 moons, an astronomical reference matching the metallic alloy found at the site. Everything pointed to one conclusion: the buried city and the codex were parts of a single design. Another section shifted from technical to mournful tone. When we depart, we will seal the gate. Those who come after will call it legend, Ka. But when fire returns to the heavens, the city shall awaken, and the children of clay shall see us again. That passage sparked fierce debate. Some saw it as metaphor for cosmic renewal. Others believed it described an actual reactivation mechanism, an energy device buried in the desert, designed to open an interplanetary corridor. The final line ever deciphered is the most unsettling. The home we left behind is not far. It beats within the memory of every being who breathes the dust of Earth. For those who read it, the message was clear. Part of human DNA might contain the memory of Nibiru itself. After partial translations leaked online, the government denied the artifact's existence and labeled all copies as forgeries. But among the keepers, rumors persisted. The blue tablet was only the first fragment. Others were still hidden, forming a greater message, a map leading to the awakening of the forbidden planet. After the Codex of Enki was classified and removed from the public eye, strange reports began to surface from across the world. None seemed significant on their own: small astronomical anomalies, magnetic interferences in specific regions, subtle shifts in tides, key. But when analyzed together, they formed a pattern that matched perfectly with the predictions described in the ancient Sumerian tablets. Meteorological satellites began detecting a series of gravitational distortions near Neptune's orbit. Minor deviations in the trajectories of asteroids and smaller celestial bodies indicated the presence of something massive, invisible, yet undeniably there. Independent observatories were the first to propose the unthinkable: a celestial body moving slowly toward the inner solar system, following an elliptical path unseen for millennia. The press called it Planet X, but among those who had read the Codex, another name echoed Nibiru. Spanish astronomer Javier Montalban, one of the few scientists who had secretly accessed the scans of the Codex, published a cryptic paper. Something with significant mass is altering the outer orbits. It is not a comet, nor a mathematical error. It is an ancient visitor returning home. Days after publishing, the article was removed. Montalban disappeared during a field trip to the Atacama Desert, where he was studying rock carvings depicting gods descending from a red sky. Meanwhile, amateur telescopes began recording a faint reddish glow on the western horizon, visible only on certain nights from specific latitudes. The images showed a flickering light, surrounded by a magnetic haze. To most, it was atmospheric distortion. To others, it was the first sign of reapproach. In scientific circles, the name Nibiru became taboo. Researchers who mentioned it faced ridicule or dismissal. Still, reports of anomalies continued to rise. And the most disturbing evidence came from Iraq. Electromagnetic pulses had returned beneath the sands of Sector Q17. The frequency of those pulses increased steadily from 1 every 8 hours to 1 every 3, as if something beneath the desert was waking up. In a leaked recording, a radar operator can be heard whispering, "It sounds like a heartbeat. The whole desert is breathing." Authorities denied any anomaly, attributing the phenomenon to natural seismic activity. yet seismographs showed nothing. Then, a new fragment of the codex surfaced, not in the Middle East, but in a private collection in Rome, made of the same blue material. It bore a short inscription: "When the red fire crosses the firmament, the gate shall open, and the voice of the sky shall be heard again." The phrase reignited fear among scholars. The red fire could be a direct reference to Nibiru's return. The gate, the sealed structure buried beneath the desert. The same imagery appeared across civilizations. The Egyptians spoke of the returning eye, the Mayans of the path of fire, the Vedic texts of the planet of the golden lords. Different ages, different continents, one single story. A celestial body returning, bringing both destruction and rebirth. At the research center in Geneva, theoretical physicists ran simulations based on the codex diagrams. If the calculations were correct, the next major alignment would occur in September 2025. What would happen then? No one could say. But buried in Karim al-Hassan's notes was a forgotten line. Their return will not be an invasion, but an inspection. They will come to see what we have done with the gift they left. While mainstream science struggled to stay skeptical, an uneasy awareness spread among those who watched the skies. Weather patterns became erratic. Electromagnetic storms disrupted satellites. In one moonless night, villagers near the desert claimed to have seen a crimson light rising from the ground, breathing once, then vanishing into silence. Space agencies denied any connection. Yet high-frequency radio scans revealed repeated bursts of static originating from the same coordinates. When translated into a visual spectrum, the signal revealed a shape: an 8-pointed star, the symbol of the Anunnaki. Spite. The keepers of the horizon released the data anonymously, naming it the message of the return. According to them, the signals were not natural, they were coordinates. And they pointed once again to the origin of everything. Sector Q-17. The desert remained silent, as always. But beneath its dunes, something pulsed, stronger, faster, alive. The forbidden planet was approaching, and with it, the echo of an ancient promise that the creators would return, not as gods, but as witnesses to what humanity had become. Rumors of Nibiru's return began circulating through scientific forums and alternative communities alike. To some, it was mere conspiracy, to others, an omen. But amid the noise, a new document surfaced, a partial transcription of Dr. Karim al-Hassan's final diary, recovered by one of his former students. In it, the archaeologist described what he called the awakening of the metallic city. He wrote that, during his last visit to the site, he witnessed a phenomenon beyond reason. The inner walls of the underground complex began to emit a pulsating golden light, accompanied by a harmonic vibration. He wrote, "There is no sound of machines, only the song of something ancient. I feel we are no longer alone here." Those notes coincide with the first modern recordings of electromagnetic pulses from the region. When the data was converted into audio frequencies, it revealed something astonishing: 12 recurring tones, forming a cycle like a musical scale, each note representing one celestial body of the solar system. At the end of the pattern, a 13th dissonant tone, the mark of Nibiru. The keepers of the horizon interpreted the signal as an automatic reactivation, a failsafe left by the Anunnaki to awaken the buried gateway, when their planet's orbit drew near Earth once again. But according to the Codex of Enki, this awakening was not physical, it was mental. A process that would begin within every human being, encoded into the same DNA that carried traces of their creators. The text reads, "When the blood of the stars beats once more, memory awakens, and the children of clay shall remember from where they came." Modern genetics has revealed that 223 human genes have no direct counterpart in any other known terrestrial species. This fact, verified by modern biology, reignited debate. Could those be the fragments of the Anunnaki legacy? A signature left within us, awaiting the cycle's return to reactivate. In the desert, the pulses intensified. Satellites recorded variations in soil conductivity and unexplained changes in ground temperature. Those who dared venture near the restricted area spoke of luminous phenomena, metallic sounds, and in moments of perfect stillness, the sensation that the air itself vibrated, as if time were breathing. Among the recovered files from the Roman laboratory, an unheard recording was found. A woman's voice, perhaps one of the codex translators, whispering, "It is not the planet that returns. It is we who are reaching it." The phrase became a mantra among the scholars of the forbidden. It suggested that Nibiru was not merely a celestial body, but a state of consciousness, a memory buried within humanity, waiting to be awakened. The forbidden planet might, in truth, be the reflection of our own origin. In the Codex's final passages, Enki speaks of an inevitable cycle, a time when lost knowledge would rise again. The fire we brought shall burn once more, not to destroy, but to remind. For the one who remembers has no fear. Those words feel both farewell and warning. If the Anunnaki truly left part of themselves within us, then their return might not come from the sky but from within. A reunion between creator and creation, inside the same consciousness. As the world looks upward, searching for a red glimmer among the stars, few realize the true change happening on Earth. Magnetic fields shift. Storms defy patterns, and in the heart of the desert, Sector Q17 vibrates once again. In 2025, as foretold by the alignments on the tablets, Nibiru will reach its closest point to Earth. What will happen then remains unknown. Some say portals will open, others that the gods will return. But there are those who believe the reapproach has already begun, not in space, but in the mind of mankind. The legacy of the gods is not built of temples or metal. It is made of memory, and memory, once awakened, can never be forgotten. Beneath the same stars that witnessed the birth of civilization, the wind carries the same ancient song. The desert keeps its secrets, waiting for the moment when heaven and earth will touch again. When that day comes, we may finally understand what the ancients already knew, that the home of the gods was never far away. It has always been here within us.